just wanted to say thank you on this particular webinar to our sponsors of today, which is a fantastic marketing company, Not Another Marketing Agency. So thank you very much for sponsoring today and making these business bites happen. They're really, really, essential. It's just great to keep everyone in the loop of any topics that's going on. So enough from me. Over to you, Kieran.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Morning, everyone, or afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to go through protecting your business, making sure that if something were to happen to you, that your business continues to run or passes to the right people. Whether this is for yourself or for people, for your clients and so forth. So we'll go through that. So first of all, who are we? We're an estate planning company. We specialize in the legal sector in making sure your assets are passed on to who you want them to. We've been going for just over 7 years and served over 10,000 clients with over 20,000 documents written. Most of our business, or 25% of our business, does come from referrals, which I think is probably a testament to how we look after our clients. You'll see at the bottom of the screen as well some of the accreditations that we have. I won't talk too much about myself and our company. It's more what I want to do today is more about protecting your business. And ultimately, this is going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour, as I know I am strict on time for half an hour, I believe. So this is about transferring your business. And there's two aspects about transferring your business. You've got the ownership aspect, so who owns the business, but also who runs the business on a day-to-day basis, because sometimes that's two different people or several different people. And it needs to be going to the right people in the right manner at the right time, of course. Okay. So what are the risks to your business? So for example, if you were to lose capacity. Now, losing capacity means there is no kind of a black and white here when you lose capacity. You may have lost capacity to deal with your finances, but you might actually have the capacity to look after and care for yourself. So potentially running a business will be one of the first things that you would actually lose capacity to do, because there are so many different moving parts when running a business. So you might be able to pay your window cleaner, and you're quite capable of doing that. But actually the intricacies of managed suppliers, managed clients, managing the wages, chasing in debts that are owed to the business, or even renewing insurances, are very, very important for the running of your business. And if you lost capacity, if you were still alive but unable to do that, without appropriate provision, so without the proper planning in place prior to you losing capacity, the entire business may grind to a halt. Because there is a department of the government called the Court of Protection. Now, the Court of Protection will likely appoint a solicitor to manage your affairs, and that could include the business itself. And naturally, I'm sure you're aware, the Court of Protection are part of the government, and the government departments aren't currently known for their speed and timeliness. And I'm sure you're all experienced in thinking on your feet when you're running a business, that you need to be acting quickly and get things done. Having a department of the government doing that on your behalf, if you lost capacity, probably isn't the greatest of things. So then what about if you died? Again, who's going to pay the wages? Who's going to look after your employees, chasing that money, renew insurances, and all the other different things? If you died, there's a couple of other extra things. Who's going to continue to run the business? Possibly, if the business was the type of business that would run beyond your passing, or if it needed closing down, who's going to let those clients know, by the way, we can no longer act for you, we can no longer look after you, and make sure that the business is closed safely and efficiently. So it's about putting appropriate provisions in that. And a will, unfortunately, won't do that for you. Because again, without appropriate provisions, the business may grind to a halt. And something that we're going to go in a little bit more detail in a moment is the next of kin of the shareholder may now oversee the business. Okay. So it's not about the directors here, it's actually about the shareholders. And it's the shareholders that appoint directors. So if someone's died there, potentially someone that doesn't know anything about the business could now be overseeing that organization. If it's a sole trader, sole traders, the business itself dies when the sole trader dies because the sole trader is the business. So if they've died, then the business dies with them. So what you might, what's quite common around that is, say, for example, the plumber. A typical plumber might be sole trader. What happens when he passes away? That business, that brand actually dies with him. What often happens is perhaps maybe a son or one of the employees or a friend or something like that may start up a new business with the same name and potentially the same clients and even the same tools and so forth. But it is technically a whole new business and a whole new set of rules. So when establishing planning for yourself, you need to think about the objectives. Now, the scenario I'm going to go through is where you've got multiple people involved in a business because you want to protect your business partner who you're in business with, and of course the employees because they've done so well for you and your clients, but you still want to protect your family and your children and so forth. So it's this catch-22 about looking after your business partner who may have nothing to do with your family, but also we're all in business, well, I certainly am, to provide for myself and my partner and my family. Whilst it's great looking after my employees and so forth, the reason I'm in it is to provide for me and my family. So it's important about kind of making sure that everyone is looked after. So here I've drawn a bit of a diagram. So in the middle there at the top, you've got you and your business partner. But you and your business partner have completely separate families. Okay. So you've got your own life partner. You may be in business together in this scenario, business called ABC Widgets. And it's a limited company. So you're in business with this person and your business partner dies. Now, naturally, your business partner hopefully will have a will. And if they don't, either way, it's likely their shares in the business will pass to their family. Because like I mentioned just on the slide before, we're all in this to look after our families and provide for our families. But would you want to be now in business? If we go back to that slide before, you are now in business with your business partner's family, not your business partner anymore. And as the picture depicts, sometimes there may be disagreements because ultimately you didn't go into business with their family, you went into business with them. So what options do you have to protect in those different situations? You could do nothing and just hope for the best. Whereas sometimes these businesses are earning a lot of money and there's a lot of moving parts. You could look at putting basic wills in place. You could look at some sort of trust strategy. You could look at powers of attorney, all sorts of different things. But who's going to benefit as a result of those? So we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail. So with a basic will, a valid, up-to-date will is a great place to start. Okay, it's going to do the basics for you. It's going to point in the right direction. So it's going to provide for your family potentially. Okay, unless you just want to give your business to your business partner. But again, a basic will can do that, but it doesn't sort out any of the intricacies, any of the arguments that potentially could come out of it. And if you include a trust in there, it can provide a limited amount of protection there. Lasting powers of attorney. Lasting powers of attorney are there if you lose capacity. So we mentioned earlier on about what happens to your business if you lose capacity. A document called a lasting power of attorney, which can be set up either yourself via the government's website or using a professional like us, we can help you set up a power of attorney, which is similar to a will, okay, but is there for if you lose capacity. So a will is there for when you die, power of attorney when you lose capacity. And it's about planning ahead, okay? Because without planning ahead, the government are going to take over. And then you have what's called a shareholders agreement. A shareholders agreement is with all the different people that are involved in an organization, okay? All the stakeholders, so we're all the shareholders, all the directors, and it's about making the rules to running that business, okay? So if you died, who can those shares be sold to, okay? So for example, in your business, you might be working with someone and they die and it goes to their family. Well, their family can go and sell their shares to the competitor. Suddenly you're in business with the competitor. Okay. And as you can see, it could spiral on. Okay. How much does it get sold for? You might value your business partner's shares at £100,000 because their family wants a quick buck. They go and sell them for £10,000. Okay. And you potentially, without a shareholders agreement, have no control over that whatsoever. What happens if you lose capacity? What are the different rules and things that are then going to happen? And I used a bit of an analogy here with the football on last night. Imagine playing a game of football, but where there is no rules whatsoever. It'd be absolutely carnage on the pitch. Okay, running a business or an organization without a shareholders agreement is like playing a game of football without any rules. Okay. And then the last option that you could look at doing is insuring your business partner. Okay, so what this will allow you to do is buy out the family. Okay, so you insure your business partner. So normally you insure yourself, don't you, in your personal life, but actually you insure your business partner. Okay, so what happens is when your business partner dies, you get paid out a load of money. Okay, which then allows you to give that money to the family, to your business partner's family, to buy their shares off of them. Okay, so we'll go through that, and just in case I've lost you guys on that concept, we'll go through that in a bit of a diagram. Okay, so there's a lot here, so I'm going to hopefully talk through it in a little bit detail. So at the top there, you can see you set up your will and you set up your lasting power of attorney. That's to make sure that you identify who's doing what, okay, and who's receiving what. You then insure each other, as you can see at the top. Your business, you insure your business partner, and your business partner insures you. And then at the bottom, you set up that shareholder agreement to outline the rules. Because brilliant, I'm sure you and your business partner get on really well together, and things run smoothly because you get each other, okay? But what happens if that person dies? You potentially will be in business with someone you never planned to be in business with. So outlining those rules and signing that and agreeing to that, anyone that becomes a shareholder in the future adheres to those rules automatically. So then what happens when one of those business partners dies, when you've got that protection in place? So there you can see on the top, Mr.'s died. He's got his halo above his head and his gravestone all set in place. And but unfortunately, on the left, you can see you are now in business with the family. Life insurance pays out. You give that to the surviving business partner's family, allowing you to purchase the business off of them. Okay, for the price that you have agreed in the shareholders agreement, because again, they might say the life insurance might pay out for £100,000, but the family say, no, the business is now worth £1 million. Brilliant, you're £900,000 short. Okay. Fortunately, the shareholders agreement, you stipulate in there what the price is, and you update that as the years go on. So today, you might get an £100,000 insurance out, and you agree, no matter what the business is, we'll still buy each other out for £100,000. Okay. Then in 5 years' time, you realize the business is now worth £1 million. Again, do the same principle. Okay. Because if you haven't got the cash to buy that family out, I'm sure that that family will very quickly get irate when they want their money. So question to ask yourself, does your current will meet the basics? Okay. Stipulate that the money is going in the right direction. Do you have lasting powers of attorney and are they registered? Okay. So both of those aspects there can apply to you personally and they can apply to your business. Okay. And then when you're running your organization, does your organization have rules that the shareholders and directors have signed to agree, known as a shareholders agreement? When you set up a limited company, you do sign to agree something called articles of association, which is very, very similar to a shareholders agreement, but it's normally very standard. It is a template. It is not personal to your business, and it's not personal to your arrangements. So that's where the shareholders agreement comes in. So I can imagine this is an incredibly lot to think of, and you think, well, when we go back a couple of slides, that's a lot of things that you've got to go and get and set up, and maybe slightly overwhelming. So where do you start? First of all, you can see on the left, you look at protecting your estate and those things that are most important to you. Usually, whilst I appreciate your business partner and your business is probably very important, think about why you're running a business. And that is usually to support your family. So therefore, do your own personal estate planning first and foremost, okay? Because this whole process could be completed over a number of years. And if you haven't protected your family first and you die throughout that period or lose capacity throughout that period, you haven't provided for your family. So make sure do those plans first. Secondly, you would arrange a shareholders agreement with some sort of commercial solicitor. Like I say, we can we can arrange that for you. Then as a third stage, you then may look to set up some sort of share buyout insurance, or sometimes known as key man insurance, or key person insurance, sorry, I should say. You'll need to speak to a financial advisor or insurance expert there to be able to set that up. But as that process sometimes is done over a number of years, you may then need to go back and fine tune things. Once you've finally got through everything there to really make your business nice and robust and to provide that continuity, you may need to tweak some of the original planning that you did in stage one. Okay. Now, for us, we do that free of charge and that tweaking aspect, but it really depends on who you use. And what I would suggest, key piece of advice here, because we've seen it happen, okay, unfortunately, don't move on to the next step until you've completed the previous step. What happens, we found it is people get into 10% of each stage and only do a little bit, but until you've completed the whole stage, nothing's in place. And therefore, we've seen it where people have passed away halfway through completing the planning. Okay. So make sure you complete the first step, then finish that. Then, I don't know, depending on your finances or your headspace, you may want to wait 3 months, 6 months, even a year or so until you then put the second stage in place and then do things gradually. It's brilliant to do everything all at once, but it can be very overwhelming. And if you look at doing everything in place, especially as a small business, it could be out of budget. So that's why we look at doing things in stages. So what happens with us, the way we work, we can make the process really easy for you, convenient, and of course affordable. Meeting with us, there is no obligation, no initial fees whatsoever. And we'll be able to have a free chat with yourself to explain your options and what's available for you and your business, or even your own personal circumstances, make the appropriate recommendations, and then you decide what's right for you, what stage of this process you're at already, and then we can kind of proceed from there. for us, this is a shameful plug, I'm afraid. But if you did want to use us, then of course, this is how you book a consultation with us. And yeah, what I've done is hopefully arranged for a few minutes to if there's any questions or something you want me to go in a little bit more detail, I'm happy to do that.
That was fab. Thank you, Kieran. Honestly, yeah, you explained that really, really well. I got it.
Good.
I got it. We all got
Good.
it. Definitely.
Well, if you got it, then that's no, no, no. I completely agree. But I do have a question. If you want, and let me change my view. All I can see is the board at the moment. So,
Stop sharing. There we go.
okay, side by side gallery. Great. Yeah. So, yeah, it was really very insightful. But you know what, this insuring your partner, your business partner, and so forth. So, and then judging the value of the business as it changes, presumably maybe on an annual basis. Depends, I suppose, how fluid the business is. But how easy would it be as you're, we all know what insurance is like, and you're all getting older, et cetera, et cetera. And I suppose one of you may have some kind of mishap which would impact on the insurance. So it may not be easy to get that level of insurance up to the value of the business amount. Just
Yeah,
right.
it is difficult. And don't forget that you only have to insure the value of their shares. So the business may be worth £1 million, but
Yeah.
remember, you're only buying your partner out for the value of their shares. So say their shares are worth 10, they've got 10% shares, you would only then insure for 10% of the value of the business.
And yeah,
And
go on.
it's very, very difficult. You're right, because insurance can go up and down. And you don't have to do that stage. You might have a business that's 100 years old and is quite cash rich. And therefore, you may not need to do the insurance. And therefore, you can, there's enough liquidity in the business to be able to buy out the family and so forth. Um, but sometimes there isn't. And that's where the insurance comes in to do that. And this is where the shareholders agreement, there's a few different ways you can build that shareholders agreement. Often, like I say, they don't actually link it to the value of the business. As much as that's a nice thing to do, sometimes it is impossible to do because the business perhaps is worth too much money for the value of insurance that you can afford. So therefore, you just agree, doesn't matter that the business is worth X amount. We're just going to agree, we're going to support each other's families with X amount. And you link it to that insurance policy or just a set figure. Sometimes, especially when you look at, say, the big, massive companies, they will just link it to whatever a valuer or an accountant or tax advisor says at that time, and then they give themselves a set period to find that money. So you might say, right, okay, it is going to be done on the true value. We're not going to get an insurance out for it because it's just not feasible. But we're going to give that person, the other shareholders, 5 years, 2 years, whatever it may be, to be able to buy out the family. If that isn't reached within the 2-3 years, then the family can go to whoever they want, to the open market as such, and sell their shares.
God, it's a complicated old business, isn't
It
it?
is.
But really, you want to stop you want to stop that family going to the open market. Really,
Yeah.
you want it to be yourselves.
Thanks, Karen.
No problem.
Brilliant. Thank you. Anyone else got questions? Donna, Tiffany, Jen? Not right now. Well, I hope you've made a note of Kieran's details anyway. So, if anything springs to mind, then I'm sure that he'll be more than happy to answer them.
Definitely.
Sorry,
Kieran,
sorry. You're in Canterbury, aren't you, Karen?
We're based in Ashford, but we cover all
Ashford.
over the UK.
Oh, I thought I saw a
And
Canterbury number. Anyway.
yeah, with Tina, who works for us, she's got a Canterbury number, so you might have seen Tina's number somewhere.
Oh, okay. No worries. Yeah, that's
Also, you'll see on the Chambers member offers, we've got 20% off
oh, yes, yeah.
your basic will. So if it is just a basic will you're looking for at this time as that starting point, then all chamber members get 20% off anyway. And I compare it to the property ladder, is just get on that ladder of just a little bit rather than try and go for belt and braces straight away, because sometimes that can be quite impossible.
thank you.
But yeah, so brilliant, Kieran. Thank you so much. It will give a lot of the members and non-members a lot to think about, and I think that you know, in this day and age where everything's changing, it's like you need to be prepared, don't you?
Exactly.
Just, you know, think ahead, one step ahead.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you again to Not the Marketing Agency as well, because they were the sponsors. Yeah, wishing you all a wonderful week. And I hope to see you all soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kieran.